Hi everyone, my name is Katja, I'm Cat Coloring, and a warm and big welcome to my channel. Today's video is a colored pencil comparison. This is a video where I, actually compare different coloring pencil brands and decide which coloring pencil brand perhaps is a little bit better than the other. And today's video is a huge colored pencil comparison because I compare 4 different kinds of coloring pencils in the pastel brands. So I have recently acquired the Holbein Pastel Colors and also the Brutfuner Macarons. I have the Castle Arts Pastel Tints. I have had them for a while, and I have all of the Black Widow pencils, and they have a lot of pastel colors. So this will be a comparison between Black Widow pencils, Castle Arts Pastel Tints, Holbein, and also Brutfuner. And I just have to say that the Holbein and Brutfuners are both oil-based pencils, and Black Widows and Castle Arts are wax-based pencils. So this will be a huge comparison with 4 different brands, 2 wax-based, 2 oil-based. I will be using this coloring book, Den Magiske Jungle, Magical Jungle, by Johanna Basford. And I will be using this page, because this page, this parrot mandala is ideal for using against or using for these 4 different brands. So you can see here we have 4 parrots, and between each parrot we have some leaves. This means that I will be coloring 1 parrot and the leaves belonging to the parrot in 1 brand here and here, here and here, and in the background. So let's get started. So as I said, this is a comparison between 4 different brands. And all of the colors are down in the description box below. I will just run them through just so you can see the colors that I have chosen. So I have chosen, you can see here, these are the Holbeins. So I have actually chosen a darker blue and a darker purple for the feathers here, the wings and the tail feathers on the parrots. Then I have chosen 2 a bit lighter blues for the rest of the parrot, the body and the head. For the beak I will just be using normal black, because black is not a pastel color. And then for the leaves, 2 sort of greenish colors here. And as I said, the colors are all in the description box below for each brand, the best. So without further ado, I will color this parrot with the Holbeins, this with the Brutfuner, and this is because I want the oil-based pencils here to be next to each other. Then I will do the Castle Arts down here, and then I will end up with the Black Widows. So as you can see, I have just put some paper behind the page I'm going to be coloring, because I've already colored the double page here behind this one, and I don't want to ruin anything. So for the parrot here, I will be using the Smalt blue here and Wisteria from the Holbein set here. And this is actually for the tail feathers and the feathers here. So if we begin with the Smalt blue. The Smalt blue is some sort of a purpley blue color. And the Holbeins actually feel quite nice on this paper, but they do dust. I just have to say that these, I found that these oil-based pastel pencils, they really dust, both these and the Brutfuners. And then we will just take the purple one here. So you can see, you can get some good blending going on here with these Holbeins, especially when you don't use a lot of pressure here. So they actually work quite nicely on these pages, the Holbein. I think it's really easy to color with them. Really easy to lay down on the paper, and they're very pigmented. I have to say. So you get good value when you use these pencils, but a downside to these pencils are that they are very, very expensive. I actually have a review up on my channel with these pencils. Came out recently. So if you want to know more about these pencils, you can go and watch that review after this video. And that was one of the reasons why I bought the Brutfuners. That was to see if they are a lot cheaper than these Holbeins, to see if they perform equally good as the Holbeins, because then you could just actually buy the Brutfuners and save yourself a lot of money. So that's also a part of this colored pencil comparison. It's some sort of test and review here and comparison of these different brands. So what brands actually work the best. And I have some different colored pencil comparisons up on my channel. And they are in a playlist, so you can go and check that playlist out when you have watched this video if you want to. I've compared oil-based pencils and wax-based pencils, and there will be more in the future. So the last of these feathers. I have to say that they work very, very nice, these Holbeins. And you can see, you can just layer them. Oh, and my dog wants to play now. He does that every time I sit and color. He wants to play. Oh my gosh, it's almost off the camera. Okay, so we have colored the wings and some of the head here with the, what was it? The Wisteria and the Smalt blue. So now I will take the forget-me-not blue and color the body here. And the lavender blue here. So that was actually just the parrot. So let's move on to some of these leaves here, and I will just use the Celadon and the mint green for these leaves here. And I will just speed up the process quickly so we can move on to the Brutfuners and begin comparing. Okay, so now the really interesting part will be when I begin using the Brutfuners. They have the same colors like the Holbeins. They are also oil-based, and they are a lot cheaper than the Holbeins. So in the Brutfuners it is Violet Storm and Blue Ice. And then we have Lavender Blue and Bel Air Blue and Celadon and also Mint Green. So we begin here with the Blue Ice. And you can see here, one of the reasons I chose the colors that I'm using is that these were the colors that were the same, not only for the Holbein and Brutfuners, because they are the same, but for the Castle Arts Pastel Tints and also the Black Widows. The Black Widows were actually the pencils that were the most difficult to match to the other three brands here, I have to say. We'll just also color here. And it's actually almost the same feeling as using the Holbeins. Pretty easy to lay down. And also a really good coverage here on the paper. Let's try the Violet Storm here. You can see that the colors really match the Holbeins. There is a little bit of dust, but actually not as much as the Holbeins. I think that the Holbeins actually dust a bit more. And if I have to be quite honest, I think that these are more easy to blend than the Holbeins. I hope you noticed that I had to color several times with the Smalt blue and the Wisteria to cover both the paper here, but also to blend the colors. I had to color it several times, give several layers. And here just a little bit of a second layer here to cover some of the places where I have forgotten to lay as much color, and then a little layer here, and then it's just completely blended, and you can hardly see the white of the paper anymore. So the Brutfuners actually blend way better than the Holbeins here. Way better. You can see here with the tail. And also the wings. You can clearly see the white of the paper. I can actually try to just move it up to the camera so you can see better. Look here. And compare it to this wing. A much smoother blend. Perhaps actually, if you look close, not quite as pigmented as the Holbeins. If the Holbeins are 100% pigmented, I would say that these are about 85% pigmented. So not quite a strong pigmented, but you know, you get a really nice color out of these coloring pencils. And again, the blending is much more smooth and much more easy to do. So this was actually quite a surprise for me with the Brutfuners, that they blend so much better than these expensive Holbeins. So I will just color the rest of the palette, and then we will move on here to the green, and then the Castle Art and the Black Widows. It would be really interesting to see the oil based pencils versus the wax based. So as you can see here, I actually added another layer here on this tail just to well, make it pop a little bit more. And I just need a little bit more blue here, but otherwise you can see here it was very easy again to lay down the colors here. It's like the Holbeins are a bit too soft for an oil-based pencil to really lay down on this paper. I mean, you know, I love to use my polychromos pencils in Johanna Bestvad books, and they are also harder than the Holbeins. And I actually think that the Brutfuners are the same kind of hardness like the polychromos, and perhaps that is why the Brutfuners just work better. You can see here I've begun to color the leaves here with the Brutfuners, and I just have to say that they actually seem with the green colors to be a bit brighter in the colors than the Holbeins. So it's the same colors. It's Celadon and mint green, and Celadon here as the darkest one. Let us just take this one, and then I take the mint green. And I don't want to layer and layer and layer. I just want to have the color down, like I did with the Holbeins. You can see they really do dust a little bit, these oil-based pencils here in this book. Funny, because my polychromos actually never dust, but these brands do. And you can see here, I will still say that the Brutfuners here, take a look at that color here, and then the Holbeins over here. Can also see it much closer here. Brutfuner and Holbein. I really do think that the Brutfuners are just that bit brighter in the green colors here. So now we have already learned quite a bit about trying out these two brands. So I will just color this off screen, and then we will begin with the wax-based pencils down here to compare them, the Castle Arts Pastel Tints and the Black Widows, and then make the big comparison. What is the best choice when you want to color with pastel colors? Okay, so moving on to the wax-based pencils, and here we have the palette that we need to color with the Castle Arts Pastel Tints. But I will actually begin another place. I will begin with this greenery, because I have just finished coloring with the Brutfuners, and it was really a pleasure because the color comes down so easily, it covers, and it's beautiful. So the green is colored with the Castle Arts Angelica, which is the same color, well, almost 100% the same color as the Celadon here, and Bayberry, which matches the mint green, almost. So we take Angelica. I actually think this is just a little bit darker than the Celadon, but they were the closest in match. So let's look at it when we color here. And well, the Castle Arts Pastel Tints here, they come very nicely down on the paper. Also a little bit of dust here, but these are Castle Arts, they always dust. Nice coverage, and perhaps just a little bit easier to work with than the oil-based pencils, but also a very good color, a bit darker, and not quite as bright as this one, but again it's wax based. So let's try to color just a bit more here. And you can see here the color just comes down so nicely. I have actually reviews up on my channel on all of these Castle Art pencils, the pastel tints, the metallics, and the 120 soft touch. And I have to say that of all of the Castle Art pencils I have tested so far, these are without a doubt the best of the Castle Art pencils, these pastel tints. And I really like them, and I like the color. I like how easy it just comes down on the paper. And these pastel tints, they are not that expensive, so they're not that expensive to invest in, and you can get them in a tin box with 48 pastel tint pencils here. And the Brutfuners here 50 or 72, and Holbein 50. So you actually get a lot for your money when buying these. But you can see a little bit of color difference, but that was actually expected. But a nice color, a nice coverage, they blend easily. So let's move on to the parrot here, and the blue hydrangea, and the, well, sort of purple lilac, the heather. So let's just try here. Oh, I love this color. This is just so very beautiful. And you can see how pigmented this color actually is. You can also see it's actually a little bit darker here than the Brutfuner, and I actually think it's also a bit darker than the Holbein. So quite pigmented actually. So let's work here with the tail feathers. And let's just see how they blend here with the heather. They actually blend nicely here. Need a little bit of layering here. And still dusty. But a nice layering. And certainly a difference to the very saturated color over here with the Holbeins. And actually also the Brutfuner. It's like these oil-based pencils here, even though the Brutfuner is not quite as pigmented as the Holbein, you still get a lot of color out, and the color is somewhat not quite as bright here with these wax-based pencils here, even though they are pigmented. And even though this blue hydrangea is actually a bit darker than the others. Let's just try here with one of the wings. Really easy to blend these pastel tints. Let's just go further out here on the wing. And here you can see they actually dust quite a bit here compared to the oil-based pencils. Yeah, it's like the color is a bit more muted actually. You can see there is pigment and it is a color, but it seems just a bit more muted than the oil-based pencils here. So it works in a different way, these wax-based pencils, with the color here on the wings. Also easy to lay down here where you don't have to blend. I will bring it up so you can see that what I'm talking about. Here, you know, and here. It's just more color saturated here with the oil based than with this wax based. And it's not because this isn't good. This is actually quite good. I really like it. But you can see a difference and feel a difference when you work with the different pencils. Does that make this worse than the Brutfuner and the Holbeins? Absolutely not. I think that for a wax-based pencil, they worked very good actually on this paper. You can see how easily the color just lays down, and you can blend here. So I will just finish this one, and let's turn to the Black Widow pencils and see how they perform here in this book on this paper. Okay, time for the Black Widows. As you can see, I've already begun here, and this just goes to show that it's actually been the most difficult to find colors matching with the Black Widow set, because they have the Monarch set and there are a lot of pastel or pastel-like colors, but when it comes to blue and purples, there aren't that many. So if we look at the parrot here, the only colors I could find sort of matching is Blue Tongue as a sort of purple color, and Picasso Sky from to match the blue color, and they are actually both from the Dragon set, because there are no blue colors to really match these type of blue purple colors in the Monarch set actually. So I use this Picasso Sky as the blue color here. So this will be sort of a light and bright parrot compared to the others. And then we take the Blue Tongue. And you know, Black Widow is this brand with all of these funny names to their pencils, like Blood Diamond and Fudge and Candy and Bliss, Poison. And if you don't know them, you wouldn't know which color Poison is. So I will not tell you which color Poison is, but I do have swatching and first impressions videos of all of the Black Widows sets, so you can just watch them and then see if you can find out which color Poison is, and then you can write it in the comments down below. So you can see clearly a lot lighter colors, but actually a bit easier to blend than the Castle Arts. I do think that the Castle Arts are not the easiest pencils to blend. Both the Castle Arts Pastel Tints and also the 120 Soft Touch set. I do think that the Black Widows are actually a bit more easy to blend, if I have to be completely honest. So just need some blue here, down here. And they also work, you know, very nicely if you just want to color with them and not blend them. Actually work quite well here. Let's see with the tail feathers here. So if we look aside from the fact that these colors are much more light than the other colors here on the other parrots, if we just look at the colors and compare, they cover the paper all right. Actually remind me a bit of the Holbeins, because they are still white of the paper shining through here. Not quite as good as a coverage as the Brutfuners, I have to say. But you can see here that it covers quite nicely. Blends also, and I have to say, can see here the Castle Art, you can clearly see the line here between the two colors. It's much more blended here. So the pencil that blends the worst is actually the Castle Arts Pastel Tints, and certainly not the Black Widows. If we just color some of the green here, I have taken the washed green for the light color and iceberg for the darkest color. These are both from the Monarch set. So these are the pastel colors you can find in the Black Widows. So if we take the iceberg here, and you can see that the washed green is a lot brighter than the mint green from these two sets, and can't remember what that one was. It was the Bayberry from the Castle Art. So this was the closest color match I could find. You can see here, yeah, I do think it blends more easily with the Black Widows. Let's take a bit more here. And this is despite this being a very light color and a very, well, dark color compared to the others, where they are almost, they are more close in the colors actually. And again here. Look here how easy and nicely they blend. There's no doubt about it. The Black Widows blend so nicely, just like the Brutfuners, whereas the Holbein and the Castle Arts don't blend quite as easily, and the Castle Arts are actually the worst ones to blend. So I will just color the rest of this one with the Black Widows, and then we will look at the background color and see for real how to blend these colors with each other here in the middle. Okay, so now we just need to color the background, and as you remember, I started out with Holbein here, and this means that I have found 4 different colors to match. So Holbein Ivory for the background, and this means that this one also belongs with the Holbein here. This was also colored with Holbein, so I will place the color here. So you can see that this is sort of the last test of the Holbeins here. And I will have to color with this all the way here. And then begin with the Brutfuner here and take this area with the Brutfuners. So down here, not on this side, but down here, this means that this color is going to be all the way down here. And then in the end, we will have to sort of blend them here in the middle. So if I just pause here and put this to the side here, then the lemon meringue from the Brutfuner, and this means that this is going to be colored with this one. So let me just take the color a bit up here. And down here. And I have to say, it feels, when I take this, it feels just a little bit oily, greasy, if I can put it that way, when I put the color down here. Just one single color with the Holbeins. Then, if I switch to the Brutfuner, this does not feel oily or greasy. This just feels, it actually feels more like when you color with a wax-based pencil to lay down this Brutfuner. I mean, this is really a joy to work with. No greasy feeling, but just laying down the color. And look how nicely the color just lays down here. Really beautiful. So that was a Brutfuner. And then the Orchid White from the Faber-Castell Pastel Tints. So, and this is very sharp compared to the others. I'll have to be careful not to break the tip. Let me just and here. Yeah, so the difference is immediate. greasy, oily, this one not compared to the Holbein. But when I begin using this pastel tint from Castle Art, this wax-based, then this one suddenly feels a little bit thicker to lay down, but not as this one. And you can see again, lays down the colors so easily and nicely here. So that was it. And then Milk from Monarch set from the Black Widows, and this is going to be colored here. And of course this is not a round pencil, so you get another feeling, and it's a bit thinner than the Brutfuner and the Holbein. The Castle Art also a little bit thinner than this one. It's not quite as thick as you can see here. Almost the same size, not completely, but this one definitely a bit thinner. And look, again, lays down the color. And now we have this little space here. And you cannot see, actually with the color, you cannot see that you have blended 4 different colors, because they are so much alike in the color tone. Can you hear it? This is a bit scratchy. So down with the Castle Art, and no, this really does feel a bit smoother than the Castle Art. Actually, I do think that Black Widows really perform better in the paper in Hannah Carlson books, for example. But they do perform on Johanna Basford paper, and actually a bit better than the Castle Art Pastel Tints here. So I will just finish this, and then I'm ready to make my conclusion about these 4 pastel color brands here. To conclude, Holbein and Brutfuner. So if we look at Holbein here, very pigmented coloring pencils, really, really beautiful colors. Brutfuner, not quite as pigmented, but also really, really beautiful colors, because they match the Holbein. And I don't have to make a video about this, because many other people have made videos and concluded that the Brutfuners are a sort of cheap knockoff of the Holbein when it comes to the colors. So really pigmented and beautiful colors. Not quite as pigmented, but still very beautiful colors. However, the Holbein, they were a bit more difficult to lay down on the paper. I had to layer them several times, and still I can see some of the white of the paper. Perhaps it's the paper here in this Johanna Basford book, but I am not that impressed here with it. On the other hand, the Brutfuners, only 2 layers, and then it's just covered, and they blend so much more easily than the Holbein. The Holbein, you get this sort of greasy, oily feeling when you lay them down on this paper, whereas the Brutfuners are way more easy. They just lay down, and they are not as soft as the Holbein, so they actually remind me a bit of the polychromos, and those pencils actually work so great on this paper. So if I have to conclude between Holbein and Brutfuner, I would certainly choose Brutfuner, Not only because the colors are beautiful, and although they are not as pigmented as Holbein, it's fine. They blend so beautifully, and when you look at the price, they are just so much cheaper than the Holbeins. As I said in my recent review of the Holbein, they are a nice to have, but they are certainly not a need to have, because they are so expensive, and you can get the same colors and more blendable pencils when you buy the Brutfuners. So if I had to choose between these two coloring pencil brands, Pastel Colors, I would choose the Brutfuner, without a doubt. So let's turn this around and look at the wax-based pencils here. You can clearly see that it's a shame that Black Widow really don't have the darker pastel colors in the blue range here as the other three brands actually have. When that's said, if you look at it, I actually think that these colors I found, they work beautifully here. I also like the colors here in the Castle Arts Pastel Tints set, so I will have to say, when you just look at the colors, they are beautiful in their own way, so they are the same. Very beautiful colors with both Black Widow and Castle Arts Pastel Tints. However, when you then begin to use them, the Castle Arts Pastel Tints dust quite a bit compared to the Black Widows, and actually also compared to Holbein and Brutfuner. So they were the dustiest pencil here. They are also, and that goes for all of the Castle Arts pencils, they are not that easy to blend on every sort of paper, I have to say. And on this sort of paper in Johanna Basford book, they are actually quite difficult to blend together. Here, the Black Widows, they were very easy to blend the colors together, as I said before. And another thing that makes me want to say, and I do say it, Black Widow, I would prefer them over the Castle Arts Pastel Tints, although I really adore these colors, is that you can buy these open stock. So the price for these when you buy the boxes, the Monarch set, and I used also some from the Dragon set, so that would be more expensive than just buying the 48 Castle Arts Pastel Tints. But when you compare the prices, they are not that expensive brands, both of them. But as I said, you can buy Black Widows open stock. You cannot buy these open stock. So when you have used the pencil up, like I probably will in the foreseeable future with the Hydrangea color, because I really love it, then I would have to buy a completely new tin if I wanted a new color with these pastel tints. But if it was a Black Widow pencil, I could just replace the one pencil. I didn't have to buy a complete set of pencil. And that is why Black Widows, in my opinion, wins over the Castle Arts Pastel Tints. So if I had to choose between these two brands, I would choose the Black Widows because they come open stock. And it is very important for customers, such as myself, that I'm able to get a hold of the pencils. Another thing against Castle Arts is that they are very difficult to get a hold of. Some of the pencils are sold through Amazon, but if you cannot get them on Amazon, then you would have to buy them on the website, and they only send to the US, the UK, France and Germany. So the rest of the world, we cannot get a hold of them unless they are, well, sold on Amazon. So again, they are much more difficult to get a hold of. That's why I would choose the Black Widows, because you can always buy the Black Widows. So if I had to choose just one brand out of these two, it would be between the Brutfuner and the Black Widows. I would just have to say it would be the Brutfuner Macarons. And it would be those and not the Black Widows, even though these are, I don't think you can buy them open stock, but because the colors are, well, they have these dark purple blue colors in their pastel range, and Black Widow just doesn't have those. And I really, really like those colors. I also think that when it comes to this paper, the Brutfuner simply performed better than the Black Widows. They were the easiest one to work with on this paper. And my guess is that they also work on other kinds of paper, like other oil pencils. So my personal not bought opinion, my completely personal opinion is that out of all of these, I would choose the Brutfuner Macarons. And if it was between oil pencils, it would still be Brutfuner. If it was only between wax-based pencils, I would choose Black Widow and not Castle Arts Pastel Tints. So that was the conclusion of this colored pencil comparison. We are at the end of this video with the colored pencil comparison between 4 different kinds of pastel coloring pencil brands. So I hope that you enjoyed the video, and I certainly hope that you learned something from this video. I also hope that you will like this video and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Have a very nice day. Take care of yourself until I see you in the next video. Happy coloring. Bye.